as the camera flies over the beautiful scenery in this part of Halifax. Once again, it's time to look at where Myford lathes are made. In this episode I'm going to concentrate on the Myford Workshop, and it's full of wonderful things. Not just the pair of vintage Fobco Star pillar drills. Quite a bit of the workshop is taken up with storage for all of the Myford parts. As the camera flies around the workshop, you can see work in progress. Of these Myford lathes that you can see, some of them are new and some of them are reconditioned models. A lot of these parts came from the Myford factory when the current owners bought Myford in 2011. Many of the boxes on the shelves are full of very interesting items. On the top shelf of one of the racks I saw this. It is a taper turning attachment, and once the cross slide screw is disengaged, this unit makes it possible to turn very long tapers in the lathe. The taper turning attachment is bolted to the rear of the Myford, and the lathe can be used normally with the attachment in place. Here are some more parts on the shelf. This is a collection of safety guards. As I continue walking around the shelving, suddenly I come across this. An area packed with Myford lathe beds. Most of the lathe beds are new, some are here for reconditioning. In this part of the factory are some accessories that are available for Myford lathes. As it clearly says on the box, this is a metric rack-operated tailstock attachment to make the tailstock of the lathe operate like a drilling machine. A while back I bought one of these. It's a Myford quick change tool post. I think this is an essential item these days for a lathe, just to speed up the tool changing process. It simply mounts on the vertical shaft on top of the compound slide. This is the current top of the range, the Myford Super 7 Connoisseur, and this one's been painted in British Racing Green, which is to the customer's specification. This Myford Sigma model is painted in standard Myford grey, and in common with the Connoisseur model, this one also has a large bore spindle. The drivetrain though is different. It's fitted with a multi V-belt system for more torque. The Connoisseur and Sigma models also have a clutch like this, once again with a multi V-belt drive. What is this? It's not a Myford. It's one of the two vintage Fobco drilling machines in the workshop. I used to own one of these machines many years ago. I wish I still had it. This is quite interesting. It sits on the centre bench, and it's for balancing rotary components. In the workshop there are various parts at different stages of production. Shown here is a headstock casting. It's been machined and it's ready for filling and painting. Here's a cabinet stand after a coat of primer, and here is a Myford lathe bed painted in Myford grey, ready for assembly. And yes, my favourite part of a Myford, the tailstock, and the modern ones have an adjustable vernier. You will see in this video someone else's hands other than mine. The hands belong to a man called Brett, and I thank him for his help in making this video. The operation of this tailstock is beautiful. It is so incredibly smooth. Here's a shot of the tailstock quill, very nice indeed. The graduations are very easy to read. I thought it would be a good idea to show how the tailstock and quill arrangement is put together. And once my lovely assistant Brett removed the tailstock quill, you can clearly see the tailstock locking mechanism. Further in the tailstock though, there is this part, which locates in a groove on the tailstock quill, preventing it from rotating. And refitting the quill with this part in position was not an easy job. I tried and I could not get the part to locate. In the end, I handed it over to Brett, who put it together because obviously he has done this before. Here's a shot of the Myford bed, and here's a shot of the Myford bed with the saddle in place. This is a machine casting for a standard Super 7 lathe. Unlike all of the Myford castings, they are cast and machined in England. This, in common with all of the other Myford components, is very well made. The Myford lathes that have a digital readout are slightly different to the others. This image shows a DRO sample saddle. It's not fully machined, and in this clip you can see the electronic sensor that fits in the machined part. Please be aware that this is only a part machine sample. When the saddle is machined properly, you will see that it looks more like this, with an extra special machine slot. And into this machine slot goes the sensor. There are DRO sensors fitted to all three of the axes. This is the longitudinal sensor, and that fits on the back of the lathe. When all these parts are fitted to the saddle, it's a very neat arrangement. None of the sensors are visible at the front of the saddle. Everything takes place internally and at the rear. Each of these special sensors feed information to this box. As you turn the controls, the numbers start to move. This clip shows the rear of the Connoisseur, and this one shows the rear of the Sigma model, both showing the motors in position. In this standard Super 7, the motor has yet to be fitted. With this clip of a Myford Super 7 Sigma lathe almost ready for delivery to the customer, it's time for me to go. I'll conclude this video by showing some Myford lathes currently for sale in the shop.